I do want to congratulate Pride at Work, your officers, your leadership, and all of you for what I'm sure has been a successful convention. Congratulations. I'm very proud to be here now as, representing what I can think is one of the best Central Labor Councils in the country. I'm proud to be here to represent them. Our federation has over 300 unions, and those unions represent about 800,000 working men and women in LA County. And I could say very clearly that we count on you. We count on you as a partner to build a strong, progressive social movement in this country. And I want to thank you for that. I think we have succeeded for a couple of reasons, and one is because the unions involve and activate their members. And when the members are active in their unions, then there's no doubt that we build capacity to do so much more. And the second reason is because we're very active in coalition building. That was something that my husband Miguel knew when he learned that from the Farm Workers Union, that no one can do it alone. And he learned it out of necessity through the Farm Workers Union because they started from nothing. There was nothing there. And the thought of farm workers having a union was the most probably insane idea that anybody had ever heard of, but they knew they couldn't do it alone, and that's where he learned that. That's where he brought it to the labor movement in Los Angeles and was successful in bringing together the kinds of allies that care about the same things. We've known that if we're going to succeed for living wages, for health care, and for respect on the job, that we need to build that coalition. After all, who are the members of our community allies? Who works and who are part of all those, the churches, community organizations? It's our members. It's working men and women. We are, in fact, the same. And so we know when we're successful, our communities are successful, without a doubt. We have to build coalitions because right now, so many things that this government and that Bush is doing is so dangerous. Our democracy is at stake. Our country is at stake. This is not individual issues. There's a very, very big movement to do dangerous things. They're already doing dangerous things, so that's what's at stake right now. We saw the power of coalition building when the millions came together, and folks have talked about this, I'm sure, day in and day out. But these marches certainly were led by immigrants themselves, but they also were labor, clergy, community, radio and TV personalities. It was truly, truly a coalition effort, and it was for the righteous cause. It was unprecedented, and it would not have happened but for a broader coalition. Union members marched with immigrant brothers and sisters because we're on the same side for what we're fighting for. There's no doubt about that. And we have a fundamental principle, and we should have a fundamental principle in this labor movement, and that is everyone who works in this country should have a good job with a paycheck that supports a family, health care, retirement, and respect on the job. Period. I don't care what your status is. And we know, Dolores mentioned, what are the forces that make workers cross those borders. They do not want to cross those borders. Last week I went to, with the pastor of the Placita Olvera Street Church in Los Angeles. We went to the desert between San Diego and Calexico, and apparently one of the towns there had stopped allowing the burial of immigrants who were dying in the desert, dying crossing the canal there because they couldn't deal with the water. And in this little tiny town of Holtville, way in the back of the cemetery where everybody else gets buried in a very respectful and dignified way in the back, 2 lots behind it in a dirt area, were 500 Jane and John Does. In that one small, tiny town, Jane and John Does. And apparently some women have taken up the responsibility, the duty of making crosses, so they have something more than just a brick saying Jane Doe or John Doe. That's what's going on. It should not, men and women should not have to face the death penalty if all they want to do is work to support their children. So we're going to change the laws and change this government so that we can have respect for workers even if they do cross our borders. And just like labor, we're all part of the same family. We have got to make sure that the LGBT community is also respected with all the issues that we face, because it's the same fight over and over again. We are all on the same side. I'm proud to say that the history coming out of Unite Here, I'm glad I got trained the right way. I'm glad I got trained taking the right positions. I'm glad of the history that Unite Here has with LGBT community. There have been just numerous examples from the inclusion of domestic partners and major hotel chains, President Rayner actions on behalf of the New York State's battle for marriage equality, the graduate students at Yale who were able to turn over the patent rights to Doctors Without Borders to make this drug available in developing countries. These are all union organizing campaigns. And it might have been mentioned earlier, but the most recent is in Toronto, Canada, where the workers there authorized to strike deferred the strike in solidarity with the International AIDS Conference. They suspected that there were going to be repercussions for doing that. And so, even though 70 of those workers were suspended for wearing the red ribbons, the delegates to the conference joined with those hotel workers to protest the action by management. And nothing could be more powerful than workers who put themselves at risk for the issue of AIDS, and the advocates and the activists in the aid community standing with those workers who took the risk. And so I'm really proud of that. And I'm sure by now you've heard about the sleepwiththerightpeople.org. And I'm very proud of Cleve Jones. There's Cleve, who has led this and been so extraordinary in helping us with that effort to again partner. The reality is that gay people face the exact same economic challenges. And with the increasing number of LGBT parents retaining custody of children, starting families, adopting, there really is no economic difference between us. And that's what we have to continuously remind ourselves. We are living in times when the middle class is getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and getting smaller. There are more people moving into poverty, and we have got to change that around and rebuild the middle class in this country. In LA County, 40% of working men and women in LA County are eligible for government assistance. 40%. This is not, brothers and sisters, those who may encounter some other issue, either unemployed or they're ill or disabled. These are men and women who work hard every single day. Only 12% in LA County can afford to buy the medium-priced home. 12%. It is outrageous, and we have got to stop those global corporations that are getting the billions and billions of dollars and squeezing us. And we are, and that the only way we're going to do that is by organizing the 90% of workers in this country who don't have a union. We have got to organize them. So on that note, we have several, quickly want to mention several campaigns in LA, and those same campaigns are also taking place in many parts of the country. They are actually nationally coordinated campaigns. They're going into industries that are virtually non-union in most of the country. They are industries that are growing. They're industries whose jobs are here to stay. They're not going to be exported. There's no threat of them being exported. And they're mostly in the service industry. That is the economy today. We have to look at those jobs, organize those workers. Of course, from the union I came out of in Los Angeles on September 28th, we're going to have a rally. Already 300 people have signed up to get arrested in a peaceful civil disobedience action, and invite anybody who wants to join that historic number of people to please join us. And if for some reason you can't get arrested this time, I won't ask why, but if you can at this particular time, then please be there to support those that are going to get arrested. It's hotel workers, it's clergy, it's labor leaders, it's immigrant activists to bring home the issue that legalization and the abuse of immigrants has got to stop. Another campaign is SOLA. That is the Security Officers Organizing Campaign in Los Angeles. When those security officers, when thousands of those security officers get unionized, as they will, that is going to bring, and it's already been completely calculated, $100 million more into South LA when all of those security officers get unionized. Imagine that's what we need, is a more adequate distribution of wealth. That's what we're going to do just with that one campaign. Another campaign that's just started to take off is the organizing of thousands of truck drivers in the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. And again, this is taking place in other big cities, but Los Angeles is a very, very key part of these campaigns. Those truck drivers make somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a year. It's just outrageous when you think about the corporations that they are doing this service for. So our number one task is organizing. I know you are a part of that. We need you to be a bigger part of that and really make sure that our campaigns are out there organizing more workers so that our labor movement has more power to elect the people who should be in office. That's the way we're going to change the politics. And speaking of which, we've got to beat back that Arnold and get a new governor in the state of California. How insulting to the history of our struggles to stop discrimination that he would veto the legislation that would bar discrimination in official teaching materials related to LGBT community. That is outrageous, and his excuse is unacceptable. His excuse for doing a lot of the other things are unacceptable as well. And the only reason he's doing what he's doing today and signing some of the legislation that has been signed today is because we beat him down and back last November when he attacked working men and women in this state. We have got to do it again, this time getting him out of office. So I am very glad to be with you here today. We've got a lot of excitement I just mentioned a couple, you know, 3 of the campaigns. Each and every one of you, I'm sure, in your own union is doing exciting work. But remember, we've got to grow this movement. We've got to grow it within the working men and women. We've got to grow it with our allies. We've got to grow it to the point where we get rid of these horrible people in office and we take back our country. Thank you very much. Y sí se puede.